Kelvin MacKenzie, your thoughts?
Well, I'm not in favour of religious memorials to the war. It doesn't really matter whether you're Christian, Sikh, Hindu, Jew or whatever. You were fighting for your nation. You weren't fighting for your religion. So I don't agree with that. He said in that piece there that there was no link between extremism and there was no room in our nation for extremism. Well, the only extremism that I can think of which has led to anybody being killed is Muslim extremism. And so I feel quite upset that we should be taking £1 million of taxpayers' money
But hold on, though, because there is a difference, because you say Muslim extremism, and many people that are normal, decent Muslims would absolutely push back against that and say it's not Muslim extremism, it's Islamists, it's people that are not tolerant, decent Muslims, it's people that actually want to replace the whole belief system, the whole framework of this country. It's the Islamists. They're completely two different things.
Yeah, they can say that, but there are examples all over the world where it is Islam, followers of Islam, Islamists, and they seem to have managed to drive a line between being Muslim and being an Islamist. I think some people would find that difficult to kind of bridge, to be honest with you. So look, at the end of it all, I am not in favour of and the Holocaust argument is completely wrong. The Holocaust, right? What we're doing there is we're celebrating the fact that we feel so upset about what happened to one complete religion, and this happens all over the world. So this is happening in Berlin, it's happening everywhere. So I do not like the idea of conflating those two particular arguments.
Yeah, I've got to say, there are a variety of dedicated memorials. There's a Sikh one, a World War I Sikh memorial. There's a Jewish memorial. There's an African and Caribbean War memorial. So there are already quite a few separate different memorials. Also, as well, I do have to say, there'll be a lot of people shouting at the screen, things like, you know, there's a lot of different groups, actually, that have committed terrorism. People will be shouting about places like people like the IRA, for example. Andy, what do you make to it all?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think there's a memorial for horses that died in the two world wars. So I don't think saying, we can't have it for individual groups is a really valid idea when there are a range of different religious, ethnic and even species memorials out there. I think the point you said I think you said Islamist extremism is the only one that's killed anyone. That's objectively not true. You know, you look at the US very recently, there's some white nationalist extremism. I think a lot of black people would argue against that.
In our country,
the IRA,
there have been way north of 100 killed.
The IRA were predominantly white Christians.
Yeah,
you know,
and so
Catholics
what are you saying? We should start giving $1 million to the IRA?
No, I'm just saying that you're wrong.
No, I am saying
Islamist extremism isn't the only extremism that kills people.
Extremism. Well, the IRA.
Yeah, exactly. So you concede that point. Then actually, it's not.
That's wrong.
Yeah, what you said, because you just said Muslim extremism is the only force, basically.
But it's the only in this discussion. It's the only one. You're not suggesting we should have a memorial to the IRA, are you?
No.
Oh right.
Well,
there we are then. Well, then that was my argument.
Yeah, I do want to just reiterate though, because many peaceful, decent Muslims I know. Some of you, and also I know people will be watching you that absolutely fit into that category, and you will passionately push back on the notion that actually celebrating people that lost their lives, that gave their lives for our freedom, is in any way, shape or form linked to
But why should they be defined by religion, Michelle? Why should surely it is a collective. The religion is a separate issue. This is a national campaign against some country, fighting for some country. We are all in it together. We don't need to also be divided on the basis of whatever religion we're.
So did you object to the Sikh one as well?
I would have done had I known about it. I've only known about it recently.
Yeah, but also I must say that people's religious identity, whatever that is, whether it's Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever. I mean, I must confess I'm not massively religious, but I know many people that are. That is a huge part, a proud part, actually, of who you are. The conversation, I'm sure, will continue, and I want to bring you guys into it at home as well. What are your thoughts on all of that? GBviews at gbnews.com. I've got a lot that I want to talk to you about before the programme finishes. I want to talk to you about train stations. Over in New York, they've now started putting armed guards on the trains there. Some people suggesting, given the rate of violence and abuse towards staff here, we should follow suit. Really? Your thoughts on that? Hi there, I'm Michelle Juba with you till 7 o'clock tonight. Alongside me, the former editor of The Sun, Kelvin MacKenzie, and the trade unionist and broadcaster, Andy MacDonald. Now, we spoke before the break about Jeremy Hunt. It really, did you see this today? I have to say, some of these things, they just stop me in my tracks because I think, what kind of absolute pillock behaves in this manner? What am I referring to? I'm referring to Jeremy Hunt's office. The words, I'll actually bring it up on the screen. He's just had graffitied over the windows and the doors. I'll show you it now. Die, Tory, scum. I mean, I look at that and I just think, like I said, what kind of moron kind of does that? Andy, when you see that, what do you think to it?
Well, it's disgusting, isn't it, really? You know, any threat of violence against a MP is obviously dreadful. I think it's really quite troubling that the House of Commons and kind of whoever looks after MP security, I guess that'd be the Met Police, haven't done anything. You know, we've seen over the last few years, Joe Cox, Sir David Amess, even, you know, the recent incident with Mike Freer. He had I think it was arson in his office, and nothing tangible seems to be done. And this is going back years. I mean, Joe Cox was, you know, sadly murdered in 2016. I mean, we're here almost in 2026, and there haven't been many advances done by either the police or the House of Commons Safety Committee or whomever it is. Just something needs to be done.
Of course, David Amess as well after that. But you say something needs to be done, but actually, when you sit and you look at politicians themselves and the way they behave, so I mean, this whole notion of the whole notion that you are scum if you vote for the Tory party, those seeds were planted. For example, by the likes of Angela Rayner.
I don't think they were planted by Angela Rayner. I think the term Tory scum does go back. I think it predates 2021 or whenever it was that Angela Rayner said it.
But do you think that it's OK then for Angela Rayner? And I'll do the direct quote because I think it's only fair. She says, "We cannot get any worse than a bunch of scum, homophobic, racist, misogynics, absolutely vile, banana republic vile, nasty, Etonian pieces of scum." But you're laughing. I just want to describe,
well,
because anyone's listening to this on the radio, you found that funny.
You kind of laugh because it's so ridiculous. You know, it's a laugh of shock and surprise more than anything.
Is that why you're laughing, that you think it's ridiculous?
I think it's incredibly bizarre that she would say that as the deputy leader of the opposition. But I don't know the context that was said. I don't know what the context of that was said.
Oh, come on, Andy. Unless you've been living under a rock. I mean, I
can't remember the specific context. I think it was directed at a specific incident from a Tory MP.
She was on the stage, she was on the microphone, and that's what she was shouting into the microphone. I'm not sure, I find it a little bit odd that you would say that you're not really sure about this incident, because, I mean, it was publicised all over the place. It's a very, very, very...
It was a few years ago, in fact.
Well, it was 2021.
There has been a lot. It's almost 3 years ago.
But do you think that's acceptable?
I don't think it's acceptable for the deputy leader of the Labour Party to be saying no.
Yeah, I think it's odd, to say the absolute least, and completely unacceptable. Kelvin MacKenzie, your thoughts?
You know, of course, it would be your party that would have written on that.
I think that's bold to assume.
And you think that's bold?
Well, you think it's a member of the Labour Party?
No, but certainly somebody who didn't care for the Conservatives, and I imagine you're part of that group, aren't you? So I do think that there is great dangers ahead of us in terms of the tensions within the country. In relation to the financial position of the country. Because if it's true, we are going to be poorer we've been poorer in this Parliament, we're going to be even poorer in the next 5 years. I could see nothing but more tension. And one of the issues that comes out of this kind of thing is that the police, look, I don't know how many police we would need, tens of hundreds of thousands, I suspect, but all over London, and I suspect the rest of the country, but I don't know it as well, are people spraying stuff on buildings. Right? Nobody ever gets arrested, as far as I know. And there is no urgency to do it. And if you take that New York mayor of, you know, literally, 25 years ago, he said the little things lead to the big things. I suspect that there will be more of that as the years go out. And it's upsetting. Angela Rayner, right, actually, I hope she learned her lesson about that kind of stuff. I haven't noticed her cross that line before, and I suspect if she tried it again with Starmer, she would literally lose her job, whatever job that is.
You're talking about, I'm sure it was Giuliani when he was talking, you're talking about broken windows theory, when he was talking about you've got to get tough on the small stuff, and actually if you clamp down at that level of crime, it actually will escalate.